The Bitcoin network has many positive attributes: resilience, reliability, and it's fast and secure. It is the network that other networks want to be. This video will provide you with a simplified understanding of what's under the hood of the Bitcoin network. Let's imagine an apple tree with bountiful amounts of fruit. Each fruit contains the DNA of the whole tree. If you take an apple from the tree, this doesn't affect the DNA in all the other apples of the tree. Now, let's connect the tree into a Bitcoin network. The apples become miners, and the DNA becomes the transactional data, which is the blockchain. The tree becomes the network that feeds the miners with the data. If someone attacks 1 or 2 or even 50% of the miners, this doesn't affect the transactional data being sent from the surviving miners. This is what makes the Bitcoin network resilient to any form of attack. There are 2 parts to a Bitcoin network: miners, which are specialized computers that have extreme computing power. These are used to validate transactions and store the valid transaction data into blocks across the network. Only miners can validate and add blocks to the network. Home nodes. These are smaller computers that can store the blocks and transmit transaction to the network for validation. Because only miners can validate transactions and add blocks to the network. JJ and his friend are fraudsters. They want to con the network by spending the same coin twice or even 3 times. JJ goes into a shop to purchase a swanky new pen. The moment he sends his transaction to the merchants, he tells his friends to do the same thing. His friends can be anywhere in the world, but not specifically with the same merchant. His friends are known as Sybils. The double spending race begins against the miners. It's like a game of tag, and they have around 3.5 seconds till 99.8% of the miners have been updated with the transactional data from JJ. Because JJ sent the transaction first, the majority of miners agree that JJ's transaction is the true transaction, and then denies Sybils' attempt to double spend. Even if Sybils managed to engage with a few miners, the majority wins, like democracy. Peter makes a transaction. This transaction is broadcast to a limited number of miners, and the transaction is individually validated by the miners. They create an identifier known as a hash. The hash is unique to the transaction. The hash is infinitely lighter than the full transaction. This hash is then broadcast to the rest of the network. The broadcasted hash works like a question to the other miners, asking if they have a copy of the transaction. If yes, then no need to send. If no, then let me send you the full transaction data. This has the effect of reducing the output bandwidth that is required to update the other miners.